All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling what is arguably the ultimate biological paradox, something we literally have to face every single time we step outside our front doors. Think about it. Is the sun our skin's greatest enemy? Or is it our ultimate protector? We're constantly told to fear the sun, right? Slather on the SPF, hide in the shade, avoid skin cancer at all costs. But at the exact same time, our bodies literally evolved to need solar radiation. We need it for our health, our immune system, basically our survival. It's a massive contradiction, and honestly, it leaves most of us completely confused about what to actually do when we walk outside. So how do we solve this? Well, we're going to break this mystery down today using the latest research. We'll be looking at the Great Sunlight Paradox, making the sunshine vitamin, the dark side of UV, vitamin D's protective shield, and finally, we'll wrap up with the safe sun formula. Let's get right into it. Okay, Section 1, the Great Sunlight Paradox. Let's frame the sheer scale of the confusion around sun exposure and what it's actually doing to us on a global level. The stakes here are absolutely massive. Take a look at this. Right now, over half the global population is at risk of vitamin D deficiency. Just let that sink in for a second. More than 50% of people on Earth lack sufficient levels of a hormone that's absolutely crucial for bone health, immune function, and disease prevention. And a huge chunk of this deficiency, it's driven by a total fear of the sun. In our effort to avoid skin damage, we're basically avoiding the exact thing that keeps our bodies running optimally. But how exactly does this whole process work?
That brings us to Section 2, making the sunshine vitamin. Let's take a look at how our skin acts as a living, breathing, solar-powered machine. The sheer elegance of our biology here is just incredible. It's basically a three-step factory. Step 1. It all starts in the epidermis. Solar UVB photons literally crash into a molecule in our skin called 7-DHC, cracking it open to form previtamin D3. Step 2. This new molecule hitches a ride in our bloodstream straight to the liver, where it gets converted into an inactive precursor. And finally, Step 3. The kidneys step up, hydroxylating it into the highly active hormone 1,25-dihydrovitamin D3. It's kind of like refining crude oil into high-octane rocket fuel for your cells. But here's the catch. Synthesis is definitely not guaranteed. Just stepping outside doesn't automatically fire up the factory. Look at these roadblocks. Melanin, which has our skin's built-in sunscreen, is so efficient at absorbing UVB that darker skin tones actually need 5 to 10 times more sun exposure just to make the same amount of vitamin D as lighter skin. And what about SPF 30 sunscreen? That blocks 97.5% of UVB rays, effectively shutting the factory down completely. Then you've got the zenith angle of the sun. If you're out too early or too late in the day, the atmosphere just filters the UVB out entirely. And, quite unfairly I might add, as we age, the starting material in our skin drops by up to 3 times. So yeah, it's a very delicate system. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the dark side of UV, because the exact same solar energy that powers our factory also has the potential to totally wreck the machinery. So we have two main players reaching us here on Earth, UVA and UVB. UVA is present all day, penetrates deep down into the dermis, and causes oxidative stress and premature aging. But the real kicker? It does not make vitamin D. UVB, on the other hand, peaks right at midday. It hits the upper layers of the skin, causes direct DNA damage, but it does synthesize vitamin D. So think about this. If you're going out in the early morning or late afternoon to, safely get some sun, you're actually getting heavily hit by UVA damage without any of the vitamin D benefits to help fight back. It's completely counterintuitive. Now, let's zoom in on that damage for a second. When UVB rays hit your skin, they can cause something called cyclobutane pyrimidine dimers, or CPDs. Simply put, these are structural distortions in your DNA's double helix. The UVB photons literally fuse adjacent parts of your DNA together. This distortion severely messes with how your cells replicate, which can lead directly to the exact mutations that cause skin cancer. This right here is the microscopic collateral damage happening in your epidermis when you stay out too long. And it gets worse. If those CPD lesions aren't fixed, they directly cause mutations in a gene called P53. You might know P53, it's famously known as a major tumor suppressor gene. It's basically the primary security guard for your cells. When UV mutates P53, that security guard falls asleep on the job. And this is a major primary driver of non-melanoma skin cancers like basal and squamous cell carcinomas. Sounds pretty terrifying, right? Well, hold on. Here is Section 4, vitamin D's protective shield. This is where the story takes a really incredible turn, because the hero of our story is actually designed to clean up the exact mess made by the villain.
Turns out, the active form of vitamin D produced in your skin acts like a built-in fire extinguisher. Studies show it actually repairs up to 60% of that CPD DNA damage we just talked about. It upregulates proteins to scavenge oxidative radicals, it suppresses the inflammatory cytokines that literally fuel tumor growth, and if a cell is just too mutated to be saved, vitamin D forces it into apoptosis, meaning it commands the cancerous cell to self-destruct. So the UVB ray causes the damage, sure, but it simultaneously creates the exact hormone needed to fix the damage. It is an absolutely perfect evolutionary loop.
And this protective shield extends way, way beyond just the skin. Look at this staggering, full-body immune balancing act. Vitamin D shifts T cells from an inflammatory state into a protective one. It promotes macrophages to actually repair tissue rather than destroy it. It boosts antimicrobial peptides in your skin, and it calms down dendritic cells to prevent autoimmune reactions. Actually, a recent major study, the VITAL trial, showed that people taking vitamin D had a 22% reduction in autoimmune disease risk. It's literally a systemic, full-body guardian.
Okay, Section 5, the Safe Sun Formula. How do we harness this incredible power without getting burned? Let's take all this complex biology and turn it into a highly practical, actionable strategy for you. 0.5. This is your magic number. It represents 0.5 MED, or minimal erythemal dose. In plain English, 1 MED is the exact amount of UV exposure that gives you a slight pinkness or a really mild sunburn. So 0.5 MED is exactly half of that. It is the scientific sweet spot for sun exposure. At this specific level, you get the absolute maximum vitamin D synthesis without the burn, and crucially, without overwhelming your skin's built-in DNA repair mechanisms.
So how do we put this into practice? Here is the evidence-based formula for safe sun. Target that 0.5 MED. To get enough vitamin D, you want to expose roughly 20% of your body. Think arms, legs, abdomen, or your back. And listen to me, this is absolutely vital. Protect your face. Your face only makes up about 4% of your skin's surface area, so it offers very little vitamin D anyway, but it's highly prone to severe UV damage and aging because of chronic daily exposure. So, wear a hat or use sunscreen there. And timing really matters. Get your sun in the late morning to early afternoon. This maximizes the UVB you need and minimizes that isolated damaging UVA of the early morning. Follow this and you can generate roughly 1,500 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D, optimizing your own solar factory perfectly.
Now, if you're still sitting there thinking, you know what, it's probably just safer to stay inside, I really want you to look at this quote. Avoiding sun exposure may pose a health risk similar in magnitude to smoking. Let me be clear, this is not an exaggeration. This comes directly from the massive 20-year Swedish MIS cohort study tracking nearly 30,000 women. They found that non-smokers who completely avoided the sun actually had a life expectancy comparable to smokers who had the highest sun exposure. Total sun avoidance is a severe health risk. So what's the verdict? We've seen today that the sun is neither pure villain nor pure savior. It's a powerful biological tool that simply demands our respect. By understanding the underlying biology of your skin, you can protect yourself from the dark side of UV, while finally stepping out of the shadows to reap the incredible, life-saving benefits of the sunshine vitamin. So knowing what you know now, how are you going to balance your evolutionary need for the sun with the reality of modern skin health?